All right. Good afternoon, everybody. A happy Friday to everyone. On behalf of the Fort Worth Community Arts Center, we'd like to welcome you to another episode of Boxed Lunch. We're all looking forward to the weekend. And before we get on with that, we have a wonderful guest with us today, the one and only Sharon Keeton. How are you doing today, Sharon?
Hello. Hey, Jason. How are you?
I'm doing very well, thank you. It's so great to see your beautiful face. And it's been a while since we've had an opportunity to chat.
Yeah. I'm excited to be here with you today. It's good to see you.
Yes, well, we're very, very grateful for you to take the time to join us for lunch. And with that being said, would you mind introducing yourself and telling us a little bit about who and what you do?
Oh my gosh. Okay. Yeah. I'm Sheran Goodspeed Keyton. I think most of Fort Worth that's over the age of 40 probably knows me as Sheran the artist, because from the time I was probably 12 years old, I started working around here as an artist in theater, and kind of live performances, singing, all kinds of stuff. And just kind of performing again in theater all over the place. And then I crossed over into Sheran, the producer and founder of a nonprofit, DVA Productions. And so then people started to kind of know me as that person. She's a person who does the shows over there at Community Arts Center or at whatever. And the focus was super on education, underserved communities, bringing the arts to these kiddos who might not necessarily be able to afford, $100 or $200 or even $30 classes. And so then it kind of migrated again in 2015 to Sheran, the writer, director, producer of film, television, commercial. Which is kind of where I live right now. Now, all the while, it's never stopped being Sheran the artist. I still perform actively when venues are open with two different bands, the Coppertones, which is a rock and soul Motown band in Dallas, and the Joe Rogers Trio, yes, which is a beloved, amazing favorite here in Fort Worth. We do a lot of jazz and blues and that kind of stuff. And then still as an actor, proud member of Linda McAllister Talent. And my day job, which I call it my day job just to distinguish. It sounds so negative, but my day job, I'm the manager of education and community engagement for Fort Worth Opera. So anything having to do with the education or community outreach in any kind of way, umbrella, that's me at Fort Worth Opera. And all that.
Wow, a true jack of all trades in every sense of the word. So not to put you on the spot, do you have a favorite discipline in all of that? Do you prefer being on stage? Do you prefer producing, or a little bit of all of it?
I would say a little bit of all of it. My greatest passion is being on stage. Just being on stage, that reciprocated energy and love and just all of that, it doesn't get any better than that. But I also, probably if I had to put them in order, that would be my number one.
Yes, there's nothing better than feeling the bright lights. Well, again, we're just so grateful that you took the time. So what do you got on your lunch menu today? And do you mind talking just a little bit about the ingredients that go into making that?
I'm so excited. Okay, so first of all, that's so much better. That light was doing weird things. So first of all, I am like, for anybody who knows me, they know if it ain't bacon, it don't make sense. So anything that I do in life involves bacon. I literally eat bacon every single day. Like, that's happening. So what I'm making today is chicken bacon ranch, Pinwheels. So I'm so excited. I feel like a chef here. Okay, So what we have first, I'll lift this so you can kind of see really well. Can you see it or no?
I
Nope.
absolutely can, yes.
Yes. Oh, snap. And I dropped one of them. So we won't eat these. We'll just make them. We won't eat them. I don't usually drop things,
The
people.
5-second rule, you're totally good. I counted.
And a totally clean surface. So that's got to count for something. Okay. So we have tortillas. We have cream cheese bread here. We have diced up chicken breast. So that's chicken breast there. We have my favorite bacon right here. Is the bacon. I don't put any other kind of seasoning except for a little bit of taco seasoning, just because I like Mexican food and I like things to have kind of that flavor. And then we have our ranch. All of that goes inside. And then we have our garnishments. So a little bit of dried parsley that I kind of sprinkle just because it makes it look pretty. And last but not least, my all-time favorite, Mrs. Renfro's salsa.
Ooh.
I'm like a walking, talking commercial for them. Like,
oh, very nice. So it looks like I've been outdone again, and I added a little extra ingredient to my main 3 that it seems like it's just variations of the same thing. But today I am making cheese and a fruit bowl, and my ingredients, of course, are bread, butter, the ever-loving butter. That's like the most important thing for anything I make for lunch, it seems like.
yes.
And then I've got some cheese, of course, for the grilled cheese, but I'm going with 3 cheeses today. So I have cheddar, and I have some mozzarella, and also some garlic and herb. So I'm pretty excited about that. I also went with the sourdough bread, and that's why I've got the garlic and herb, because it's a sliced cheese. The other stuff is shredded, but you need that sliced cheese to cover the porous surface of the sourdough. And then my lovely little fruit tray today will be some cutie oranges and then some fresh cherries as well. So that's what I'm going with, trying to eat light and do all I can to continue to try to stay healthy in all of this quarantine. Seems like I'm eating a lot of fast food, but certainly some heavier items for breakfast and dinner or supper. So I've been trying to keep the lunches a little bit lighter. So
yeah.
Very nice.
Have you found that every, like, I don't know, 1 hour when you find yourself kind of being bored or just sitting, you go, oh, I think I'll go eat?
It has been a struggle to convince myself that I am simply bored and not hungry. I can tell you almost anything that is in my refrigerator at the moment, because it seems like I look at it about every 5 minutes if I'm not absolutely engaged in something other than sitting. So yes, I have struggled with that immensely. And I keep thinking I'm out of, like the fridge is empty, but there seems to be plenty to keep me occupied if I need a snack. So
yes.
So
same here. Same here.
It has been a challenge indeed to find something else to do other than binge eat. That Netflix binging in general, I think, is really starting to take its toll on me. So okay. As we move into some prep work here, do you mind talking a little bit about how your organization or yourself have been reacting or affected by all of this COVID-19 pandemic?
Yes, I will. And you'll have to tell me when I'm actually supposed to start piling things on here.
You do whatever you need to do to get ready. We're in the prep process. Just to make you feel better, I'm going to go ahead and start heating up my pan here a little bit. And then you talk and prep, and we'll just keep each other company while we're doing it.
Okay, I think I'm like an overachiever type because I'm so prepped already. Like,
that's okay. Take your time while you're talking to us about how everything's been affecting you and your operation. Feel free to start getting things ready, and then we can come back and talk a little bit more specifically about what all you did with the prep work.
That'll work. So one of the biggest things, so for Sheran the artist slash DVA Productions, one of the biggest things that we moved into doing when our seasons ended in 2015, we moved into a position of like artist support for a lot of other organizations, government entities, school districts, where versus producing full-length plays on stage, we would send costumed characters for literacy programs. We would partner with them to create an entirely new program for that school system or for that school district. A lot of cool things with libraries in the DFW area. But one of the things that I think obviously is suffering the most is there are no children in schools right now.
Yes.
There are no libraries open. All of the places where we have been functioning are currently dysfunctional. So that took its toll on us in the way that it has everyone else. There was literally nowhere for us to be, but the desire was still there. So for DVA Productions, one of our biggest main characters that continually goes out and has been for the last 9 years is Mrs. Dipsworth. So Mrs. Dipsworth's story time, she goes all over the place, you know, from churches to libraries to community centers, promoting literacy and doing story time and doing these songs and dances with kids. And she's like a music video. She's like a television show that's going to be happening. Like she's like a thing, but there's really nowhere for her to function. So the powers that be with DVA Productions decided that we were going to put her on the internet for free. So on her Facebook page and on her YouTube page, if you go to Facebook or YouTube and just type in Mrs. Dipsworth, videos of story time, virtual story time will pop up.
Nice.
And so we've kind of been doing a lot of that. I also, Sheran the artist was in the middle of working on several different film projects as a producer. And we decided not to just stop in its entirety, but to come back to the table and look at ways in which we could still move forward with our art in a very safe and very effective manner for everyone involved. So we started doing like this guerrilla style, like this one intro that we still had to shoot for a movie that's actually premiering tomorrow. It's called Love You Later. And we're doing a virtual premiere tomorrow. Shameless plug, if you don't have tickets, you got to get them tonight by midnight. I'll be posting about it all day today. But we actually had to go in Sundance Square and like right outside the ropes and finish filming the intro of it. And like I had like actors like, okay, sit in your car. I'll text you when it's time to get out. When you come up, you can only stand by this tree. I'm gonna stand over here. Like I had like a fanny pack with like sanitizer, Lysol, and gloves. Like we were like getting it, but we got it done, and it looks amazing. So it's been that kind of thing. You know, I have another film that I wrote, directed, produced, another shameless plug, called Empty Nest. It's exactly what it sounds like. Mom, happy life, happy wife. She truly believes that this world depends upon her to run until all of a sudden they're gone. And then she realizes that she needed them. So it's a really cool short film. Again, we were done filming it, but the post-production process has been like, okay, I can't come to your house because I'm scared of the virus, but if you email me this, and then I'm gonna videotape you and send you these instructions. So
Sure.
It's been insane, but I'm one of those people who I won't be stopped. I'll just find a workaround.
Well, it sounds like you are certainly staying busy, and I look forward to some of the links whenever we get done with the interview. Make sure you drop back through on Facebook and on the chat, and make sure you put them here as well so people have the opportunity to get some tickets and support the film as well. So, yeah, it sounds like you've been very, very busy indeed. So, okay, so now we're on to the prep portion. So I'm going to go first while you're looking at your ingredients, and I heated up my pan. Mine's a little simpler. So I just literally drop my bread in, and then I take my slice of cheese and make sure that that gets covered up and over there. and then literally
Okay.
drop some on there. I don't mind if it spills out in the pan because sometimes that helps adhere the two slices together. And then the mozzarella on there as well.
Yeah.
You never have too much. And then I just drop that top piece down on there. And if you notice, sourdough is a little longer than a regular slice. So I always say that these are little kind of like baguette pieces. I just drop the extra portions in there as well and just let those fry up a little bit, because that way I have something to clean the pan with when I'm done. And then I can use those extra little pieces there to pick up that cheese there. And then I just drop mine on the skillet, and now I'm all excited about watching your prep. So off we go.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so for me, I am putting we have a similar situation where it has to kind of stick together eventually. So I take a little spatula and I put the cream cheese spread on. And I use the whipped spread because it's easier to spread without ripping up your tortilla. And it's smoother and it tastes the same, but it's kind of like dealing with glue. You just kind of spread it out as evenly, as thin as you can, because it's going to be what kind of holds it all together and gives it that great flavor. So that's what I'm doing first. And woohoo, gosh. Okay. So I will do that, and then I'll just kind of jump you ahead and tell you what I'm going to be doing. And then if you want to chat about other things, we can while I'm doing it. All right. So just to kind of jump ahead, once I get this completely spreaded on, I'm going to evenly spread some chicken on. But the key, and I'll kind of come back and talk about before I roll it all up, the key is to not make it so full that when you roll it, it all gushes out, because then you have a mess. But so that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be layering on things. So I'm going to be putting on this cream cheese spread. Woo-hoo. And then I'm going to put some chicken on. And then I'm going to put the seasoning directly on the chicken, because I think that's what you're supposed to do. And then I'm going to put some bacon on and drizzle some ranch on. And then I'm going to start rolling it. So that's going to be my process, just so you know.
Wow, there's some beautiful colors there. It absolutely looks delicious, and I can't wait to see the finished product. All right, so while you're dealing with your preparation there, do you mind telling us a little bit about what you've learned about yourself and or your organizations during this trying time?
Gosh, that's kind of tough. I think I've always known that I was resilient, because unfortunately and fortunately, that's a life I've led as an artist and as a mom, as a single mom. So I think I've always known that Sheran as an individual was resilient. But I think that there was some confirmation that, okay, what works in our personal lives doesn't always work for business. So what I've learned about myself is that I truly have the ability to adapt a plan, to devise a plan, to adapt. I think that that's the thing. And so, yeah, I think that that's the biggest thing that I've learned. And then just, yeah.
It is a key to survival.
Yeah.
So many people get thrown off when plans change, and a lot of times it really takes them off the tracks. And especially in times like this, to be able to manipulate not only the things around you, but also yourself. It really does take some interior mentality to be able to stay focused and be able to change not only with the times, but more importantly with your plans as well. Because I think all of us are really having to struggle with that. And it's one of the things that has really been very apparent. We have a fallacy of things being okay and that we have control. And times like this often show us just how transparent that is, and what we need to do to really stay focused and stay on track. So it sounds like you're doing a great job of adapting with all of the things that you've got going on. So hats off to you. It's quite impressive. So do you mind talking a little bit about what's become your focus personally, or just a way to pass the time and stay engaged, not only with yourself, but also the people that you surround yourself with during all of this stay-at-home sheltering?
Um, First of all, video messaging is at an all-time high for me. People who know me know that I stay in front of a camera anyway because I'm always making some kind of silly video, whether it's some traffic, I'm sitting in traffic, or whatever. But it has become very important to me to increase connectivity. Um, I am admittedly very, very, very cautious. Very, very, very cautious. I share my home with my beautiful mom, who she won't let me say her age. But if I'm 45, she's old enough to be my mom, which puts her in a very vulnerable place with all of this. So that all of a sudden shifted to be my first priority, above and beyond everything else, keeping her safe, keeping my home safe. And so I think that that's the thing that I thought I kind of knew about myself, as far as like being a protector and just kind of all of those things, and enjoying those very rare. And I mean, you're an artist slash producer slash family man. So you know how finding that balance between just being at home at the table for a meal with your kids is tough.
Yes.
And so I think that the thing that I've probably walked away from all of this, and when we come out of this, I'll govern my life completely differently. There is nothing I love more than just sitting in my mom's inn. I call this the castle. And like we have like total opposite ends of the castle, but nothing more thrilling to me than to spend, hours upon hours sitting on her end of the castle and watching Netflix with my mom. These are things that I never had time to do before. Cooking meals for her, I never had time to do that before. It's like, okay, mom, I'm gonna grab you something from McDonald's. I'm gonna drop it on the porch. I'll see you later. So,
Yeah,
I think that for me,
it's I was going to say, it's just quite amazing how the simple things in life really come to the forefront. We get so swept up in what we think is important, and it's been the same with me, how just a simple meal with the people you care about really has heightened, and it just reminds us how easy it is to get swept away in what we think is important, and time with loved ones, and being able to reflect and really spend quality time and share information with the people we love is something also that I've really learned to appreciate. And I think one of the positive things that will come from this is our ability to settle, to slow down, and to really look around. I know that people are being cautious with their procedures and the way they clean things, but it really has taken the blinders off to how we go through life, just full speed, 100 miles an hour. And I hope that when we all get out of this and start coming back out of it, that we realize that slowing down is really going to give us an opportunity to see things a little bit more clear, reflect on who and what we do and how we are with people. And I hope that it carries over and we don't just go right back to 100 miles an hour, because it's what's going to get us through is communication, strong support system, and being able to have those people around us. So
absolutely. I'm with you, Jason. I'm with you. I tend to be one of those people who comes out of things, I think, better. I tend to come out of things with a greater sense of just like judgment on things.
Yes.
And so I'm really hoping that as a country, we all do. But one thing I do know, and this makes me very happy, I know that overall, even considering all the things that are going on in the world right now, I know that I see a greater sense of community that I never saw before. Even here in my neighborhood last week, my mom and I were out doing our late afternoon grocery shopping for the week. And we came home and our trash can was not on the curb anymore. And it kind of freaked us out. I'm thinking, who would steal my trash can? Oh my God, that is horrible. And, you know, we're freaking out, and neither of us even thought to look on the side of the house. And so finally we look on the side of the house, and it's on the side of a house. So one of our neighbors, you know, knows that it's two ladies that live here, and he was just being nice. He just brought our trash cans up and put them back on the side of the house where they lived. At first I thought it was kind of creepy and stalkerish, because I'm like, you live down the street, why do you know where our trash cans go? But okay. But the fact that he, you know, literally he's across the street like 3 houses down. So it took effort. And so I think just that overall sense of community, that overall sense of volunteerism, that thing that we've always needed is, you know, in full force right now. And that's the thing that I hope and pray does not go away.
Yes, I could not agree more. So, all right. So it looks like your food's coming along pretty good there. I just love watching all that stuff come together. Do you have any secret prep tips or ingredients to assure deliciousness?
Let everything be out for a little bit and become room temperature. Like everything spreads better when it's not cold, everything. And just a little bit so it's room temperature, so that, you know, people aren't freaking out about, you know, oh my gosh, it's gonna go bad or whatever. I do realize that there's one ingredient that I forgot, which is my shredded cheese. So we can do one of two things. We can just pretend like it's there, or I can step right over there and get it. You tell me, because I don't want to be, you know, impulsive. Okay. Sheran will be like, wait, I'll be right back. But you, I was going to
say, if you want to, hop up real quick and get it. I know that we can all imagine, but I'm afraid some of the folks at home probably don't have that suspension of disbelief like we do. So I'm going to talk about my wonderful little secret ingredient here while you get your cheese. So
nice.
What I use is avocado oil. It's like a little spray. And so I found that if you hit the pan with that before you put your bread and stuff down, and while you're heating your pan, it just gives it a little bit better flavor. I've already got enough butter on the bread, probably for more people than myself in terms of my intake on that. But I found that avocado oil really is a nice little balance to put on the pan and keep all the bread from sticking and burning and things like that. So that's my secret ingredient. And while you're tracking your cheese down, I'm just going to give mine a little squish here, make sure that cheese is melting. I'm going to mix around those little baguette pieces there, and then go ahead and flip mine over for side 2 and just toss that over like that. Make sure that you get it evenly burnt on both sides there, and just give that a little shake, and then we should be good to go. So there's the cheese. Perfect. Look at that. Are we professionals or what? I totally milked that.
We are.
Till I saw the cheese hit the table. Avocado spray. I can't recommend it enough. All right, Sheran, while you put that cheese on there, do you mind talking a little bit about how you see the arts adapting now that businesses are reopening and people are starting to kind of venture their way back out, along with the people that still aren't quite comfortable enough? How do you see the arts changing and adapting in this new time?
You know what? I think, Jason, that we are going to definitely have to kind of step back and refocus and rethink, reconnect to our original mission statements. I think every arts organization, no matter what type of organization it is, was created to, in some kind of way, positively impact their community, to create pieces that cause people to think and to learn and to grow. And I think that we're going to have to reconnect with those mission statements, and maybe disconnect with some of our more probably unintentional but superficial thoughts on the way an organization is supposed to move. We are probably going to have to disconnect from some of our, amazing grandeur and all of those things, because we don't have that at our luxury anymore. We can't at this very moment go into large performance halls or movie theaters or,
Right.
those things. So I think the biggest thing is going to be us returning to our original mission statements and figuring out how we can produce our art, and kind of use that to also revitalize the economy. But the biggest thing is just returning to producing that art. Now, I know for me, my thoughts are, gosh, I'm always trying to think of the most PC way to say things.
Just
Okay.
let it out. We can always fix it in post.
So yeah, okay. I think that now is the time that we go back to what we used to be. And when I say we, I mean we as a society before we had, again, all of the big moving parts. I remember when I first started in theater, black box theater meant black box theater. There was a black wall and black painted floors and literal black boxes. And those black boxes would become the cars. They would become a bed. They would become a kitchen table. At a point, they might even be your kid, and you're cradling a black box. Whoever. I mean, it was
Sure.
extreme, but it was art, and
Yes.
people believed it because the actors made us believe it. The visual then became our creativity, meaning as an audience member. And I think we're going to have to go back to just the raw creativity of bare necessities. I think that that's going to be the thing. And I think that we just have to go back to big imaginations and, what do we have that we can make art? The one thing that we have now that we didn't have then is the internet. So that means that now we can share our art with millions and millions of people, ideally, and that excites me. But I think that the survival of this is going to be that. And as we move back into the world, I think that it's also going to be very important as arts organizations for us to acknowledge and respect that there are still so many different people that are on various ends of the spectrum of their beliefs of all of this. What's safe, what's not safe. And I think that it's our responsibility as arts organizations, as creatives, as filmmakers, as artists, to create things in a way that people throughout that spectrum can enjoy this art. I think that we should not move into a place where, oh, well, you don't want to come be part of my 25% or my 50%. Oh, well, you missed it. Yeah. I think that we should continue to service our community of people who just say, I choose to stay home. I choose to be safe. I think that is very important. So probably that's the biggest thing for me, is that I really hope that as we move back into this space, that we'll continue to be understanding of everybody's everything and serve them.
Yeah, I really think we're going to get back to the core of storytelling in all different aspects of art. And
absolutely.
I really think that it'll be quite compelling to see how people just get back to the basics and tell a true story. And it's been really interesting to see people use all these different virtual platforms as well. And my assumption is there's going to be a melding of it. I don't think it will go away. And I really do look forward to seeing how people use it as a tool to bridge both components. There's nothing better than being in a theater with a group of people and sharing that communal experience. But I do think that there is some value to some of these virtual platforms, especially in terms of marketing and spreading the message across the the audience that may not necessarily be able to get to us. And
Absolutely.
it's going to be nice to see that we're able to share with a broader spectrum of people that have wanted to engage in the arts. So I look forward to that.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
what item or food venue are you most looking forward to indulging in now that things are starting to trickle open and people are starting to head back out again?
So right in the heart of downtown Fort Worth, there is this little place called Istanbul Mediterranean Grill.
Ooh.
And I am not big on Mediterranean food, but they have salmon that is better than any salmon I've ever tasted in all of my travels all over the world. And I don't know what they do to it, but I'm like, oh, dear Lord, this salmon is amazing. And when I'm at work at my office in downtown, I can easily go to Istanbul 3-4 times a week for salmon. So I'm the most excited about getting back to that. The most excited.
Nice. Again, post a link so we can check it out. That's one of the things that I've really
Yes.
enjoyed in visiting with people, or some of these restaurants and items that I may not necessarily have been aware of. And more importantly, I think it's great that when we do feel comfortable enough to get back out, that we're supporting local businesses and things like that too. So yeah, drop us a link. I'd love to check it out.
Absolutely.
And I love a good piece of salmon as well. So, all right. So how you coming on your lunch there?
Okay, so I'm a little embarrassed because the first thing that I told you all was to make sure that you don't overstuff so that it will fold and stay folded. I did not follow my own rules, so I did overstuff a little bit, but it's still going to be okay.
That's
so
quite
I rolled.
right. It looks absolutely delicious. So, all right.
Thank you.
You bet. Okay, so while we're moving on to kind of prep and presentation, I was wondering if you would speak a little bit about what helpful community resources are you seeing or using personally, and how can your organization be assisted or provide assistance to other artists and other arts organizations?
Okay, so this is not like some paid advertisement, shameless plug, but one of the most helpful and most comprehensive list of resources that I've found has honestly been the e-blasts that come from the Arts Center. I found numerous resources there that have helped to continue to do things for DVA Productions. And so that list has been really helpful to me. What DVA Productions has then done is that for all of the independent artists that we've worked with over the last decade, as I'm sifting through, and as Jennifer and Nikki, as we're sifting through all of these different resources and kind of looking at things, we're then sharing them with those people. And that really is just kind of like resources as far as assistance for them as an artist. Sheran, the individual, spends a great deal of time looking at other resources, like through the Terrence Area Food Bank and other restaurants online that regularly do food giveaways. Right. And so at least once a week, usually more, on my personal page, I'm consistently posting places where families who are really struggling right now to make ends meet, because that is a thing, yes, they're able to go to these food banks. And so this is where it is. This is the time. Here's a link to it. So to me, as far as DVA is concerned, doing our part to forward any resources to these independent artists in these groups or however, so that other small organizations or independent contractors can know where they can go get help, how they can survive and thrive during this pandemic. But again, you know, as an individual, my heart is now and has always been and will always be with the basic care and compassion of humans, of individuals. So, that means for me going down and making sure that if there's anything that I have or can, contribute as far as the homeless shelter is concerned, again, being safe, being able to do that, over the email or in my car, not getting out, whatever I need to do. But I think arts organizations should begin to take on the persona of my neighbor. He has his own trash. He lives down the street. It took effort for him to walk over here, get my trash can, and put it beside my house. I would love to see arts organizations, big and small, take the effort to walk away from their house, go over to their neighbor's house, meaning other arts organizations, and help them to carry their trash can up. I think that sense of community has got to be present all the way around.
That is a great point, and I could not agree with you more. And that is how we'll survive, is by unifying and collectively finding the answers, not only in procedures, but also just in being able to support one another outside of ourselves. So I couldn't agree more. So great point.
Yeah.
All right, so now we're moving on to presentation. So you mentioned about kind of recapping how you went about that. So while you're fixing your plate there and moving on to your presentation, do you just want to kind of recap and bring us all up to speed on what you got going on there?
Yes. So chicken, bacon, ranch, Pinwheels, which are my faves. So to kind of recap, and let me just say this, you can do these with anything. And that's one of the things that I want to do, is something that whatever you have in your kitchen, first of all, if you don't have any tortillas, shame on you. But you can put anything in them, because I usually, whatever is in there, I put it in there. You can put fresh veggies in there. Cream cheese is kind of the mainstay, but you can put anything in there. You can use mayo. You can use whatever you want. But I used cream cheese. I used chicken breast that was severely chopped up from a can. I used bacon. I used shredded cheese. I used taco seasoning and ranch and all of those things. And essentially you just roll them up and you start cutting them into, little bite-sized coins or medallions. The joy for me is the only thing that presentation-wise that I ever do, I put the ones that are really pretty that come from the center on my plate for my presentation, and then the messy ends where stuff is all falling out. I'm like you. I take that and then I eat that part.
Those are the testers, right?
Yes. Yes. So I'm excited about that. I'm super duper excited.
Very nice. All right. So do you mind talking a little bit about tips or tricks to stay sane during all of this? Do you have anything that is your go-to? Do you meditate? Do you read? How do you keep yourself healthy mentally and physically while you've been going through all of this?
I meditate. I am big on prayer. So Jesus and I talk now probably more than we ever have ever. He's probably like, what is happening right now? You're clogging up the line for all the other good saints. They can't get through with their prayers. But meditation every morning, prayer. And then as far as physical, my mom and I go walking around our neighborhood. Just to get out, get fresh air, kind of get the bones moving. And that's good for both of us, good for our health, good for our wellness, good for our everything. And so we do that. And then as far as just overall sanity, Jason, for those people who live alone or, essentially don't have a bunch of people living at their house, it can become really disturbing that you're just there alone all the time.
Yes.
So one of the things that I also try and do is I reach out a lot. Again, video messaging, any free services, FaceTime with my phone. I connect with my family and my friends that way. I'm one of those extremists. I don't let people come to my house. I'm like, no, you can't cross the threshold. But I do spend a lot of time with family and friends, on social media, video chatting, Zoom, like we're doing right now. But my favorite, this is probably my all-time favorite. I have a little group of people, and it's a very small group, like 3 people, that we decide maybe once a week of a television show or a movie that we want to watch on Netflix, and we get it to the 0000 mark, and we have our phones on, and we're like, okay, on 3. Okay, is it on 3 or is it the beat after 3? No, it's on 3, and this happens every time. And then we go, okay, on 3. 1, 2, 3. And then we push play and we put our phones on mute. So then we watch this movie together. Yep. And it's at the same place. And if something is funny or there's some commentary, we'll unmute and go, oh my gosh, girl, did you see that? And then go back to mute. So I think really, really, really just going above and beyond to connect has been my sanity. And those friends of mine who don't have that person there have been really thankful for that reaching out. So that's kind of been my thing.
Wonderful. Well, we thank you for doing that, not only reaching out to the people around you, but also the art that you bring to the city. So just an incredible talent. I've had the pleasure of seeing you here and there. And, you know, I look forward to getting back out and catching you again. So, all right, we ready for presentations here?
Oh my gosh, I think we are. Hold on a second.
All right, while you're finishing up, I'm going to go ahead and go here. So here's mine. And so I got my little cherries and oranges there on that side. And then I've got my grilled cheese right there. And then I cheated a little bit and I took those baguettes and I had a little pre-made avocado dip. So I just stuck those right inside there. And that's my presentation there with those wonderful cheese there. Oh, it's just beautifully gooey there. Look at that. Woo!
I want to eat that. I want to eat that now.
Nice job. So, all right, let me see yours.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So, I don't know. Can you see this okay? I don't want to tip the salsa over.
Yes, it looks great. Just pick one up and kind of hold it up to the camera so we can see the inside there.
Yes, I will. I can do that. So, it's really beautiful in color.
Yes.
Because you get the green and you have yellows and reds and it's really pretty. And then, yeah, the overall presentation itself, I think I can do this without them toppling all the way off. Let's see here now. How about that? Can
there
you see
you
that pretty
go.
well? Yeah.
Bravo. Absolutely looks delicious.
Yay.
All right.
I'm excited about it.
So here's the most important question I have for you. How and where can we find you and information about your organizations or anything else that you would like us to track down?
Okay, so social media is my best friend. So if you just go to any social media, really Facebook is where I live the most, and just put in Sheran, it's spelled like she ran down the street. Put in Sheran Keeton, Keyton. So I'm super active on Facebook. I'm constantly posting where I'm going to be performing or where I'm going to be and what I'm involved in there. And my artist pages all kind of connect to that as well. So I have a Sheran Goodspeed Keyton artist page on Facebook. DVA Productions is dvaproductions.org, and that's Diverse Visionary Arts. So DVA, or Diva without the I. Selfless Diva. And that's it. I'm excited. Again, I will go on this post and post about the movie premiere that's coming tomorrow. It's a virtual premiere. I'm excited about that. And Mrs. Dipsworth, please, please, please share her. She has a wonderful video teaching kids how to cope with COVID-19 and how to understand it and not be afraid. And it's really fun. So
awesome. Sheran, I can't thank you enough for joining us. And I really appreciate you taking the time, and look forward to seeing you in person and visiting with you again. I'm just very grateful to have the opportunity to share some lunch and some time with you. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, that wraps up another episode of Boxed Lunches. Make sure you join us on Monday. We'll have Christy Howard, the managing director of Jubilee Theater, with us. Also, make sure you follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Go over to YouTube at the Fort Worth Community Arts Center. We have some wonderful content there as well. Everybody, please have a wonderful, safe weekend. And with that being said, Sheran, bon appetit. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We'll be back and we'll see you soon. Stay safe, everybody. Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.